It's evening, and as the snow starts to fall again, Gare suggests that I try and relax my weary muscles in a hot bath. He forgets to mention something. That's best done outside.
Let's get in. Right. It's really hot! Is it? Super! Oh, I think we're gonna cook! This is crazy!
So I thought it would be a good idea to bring you out here to have a so you're not so scared of the winter anymore.
Well,
It's okay, it's okay. But it's hot.
And just to complete my winter aversion therapy, Gare has another suggestion.
not cold.
Yes it is. It's the morning of day 3, and sadly it's time to say goodbye to Newsford because there are other cod waters to explore. Plus, I want to add another mission. So Gare has headed even further up north to an island called Sur-Oya, and apparently some monster cod up there. He's flown. See a little bit more of Norway, so I wanted to drive, and it's the perfect excuse because I want to take a detour to a place called Andenes. It's at the very tip of Vestfalen, which is way north of where we've just been in the Lofoten Islands, and it would be a very, very special experience for me. And this is something I absolutely love. A spot of whale watching, if the weather allows. I've just stopped off for a lunch, and this certainly beats a motorway service station. So I've finally arrived, and this is a very special place. I'm here for a couple of reasons. The first is to meet a man with a fascinating story. And the second, this places in the world, and it attracts some very unique. Now, I'm not actually going fishing. I'm going to spot something. The world's biggest predator. It's called a sperm whale. This is Martin Brill, a Dutch photographer with a passion for whales who came here 11 years ago on holiday, decided to stay, and now takes tourists himself to see these remarkable creatures. So look at the ocean. There's no landmarks. So what we're looking for is their blowholes. That's where they're breathing out, catches a little bit of seawater above them and sprays up into the air. Now, if you get the angle of the light right, it actually turns into the most beautiful rainbow you'll probably ever see in your life. Oh my God, they're everywhere. There's one out here. He's gonna roll in a minute as well. Got one within the space of 100 meters of her. I can't begin to tell you how special this is for me. Despite being 300 kilometers inside the Arctic Circle, thanks to the Gulf Stream, the waters here are surprisingly warm. It's thought the whales navigate their way through a huge underwater canyon near the coast, which is up to 3 kilometers deep in places, as well as one of the sperm whale's favorite foods, deep-sea squid. But what's really interesting, and it sounds quite counterintuitive, the last thing these guys will do before they dive is breathe. Dive to the bottom of the swimming pool, we would obviously take a huge lungful and dive down. But for these guys, they sit up on the surface for 10 to 15 minutes, breathing, 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 and they're re-oxygenating their blood. They don't, however, want a buoyant lungful of air. It is a... All the whales here are males. The females and calves are to be found further south near Swords. Just like the cod this year, there's evidence to suggest that the whales here are getting bigger. Not only that, they're also much older than people first thought. Back at the office over a cup of coffee, Martin explains how they know this.
We did think that they get 80 to 85, but now we are pretty sure that they can easily be over 100 years, and maybe older.
Yeah. How do you know that?
Well, there was a stranding, and they found a harpoon metal in their body.
Yeah.
And on the harpoon was written a year, and it was 1870. And they were old harpoons. So you can also say, well, maybe this guy was over 130 years old.
Wow.
So
he's washed up and he's had that in him his whole life.
Yeah, his whole
and that was
life.
1870. He could have been 20 years older then.
In that time also. So it's speculating, but for sure.
Each whale has a unique tail pattern, and Martin photographs the tail of every whale he sees. These photographs are used as part of the evolving data that helps scientists build a better understanding of these remarkable creatures. Being so close to these giants of the sea on such a regular basis means that he's a dab hand at knowing when to get ready for that crucial moment when he can take his shot.
But what they do in the end is they come up, breathe the condensated air, because the body is warm, it's cold, so it condensates. This like sneezing every time. Yeah. And the last blow out, he pushes his head a little bit higher, and that is the moment that we say diving. But sometimes when we have big waves, then they have to go also a little bit more up with the nose to breathe. Right. Yeah. So when we see this, that they go a little bit higher, we say diving, and then they take advantage of the weight of the head to bring it down. Yeah. And then you see what's happening, and they go like this down.
That's when you get the classic tail shot.
And that is when you get the classic tail shot.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. It's a bold move to dramatically uproot your whole life and follow a dream. But even just spending a few hours here watching these big old guys slipping below the waves, maybe for a squid or possibly one of those giant cod I'm after, is so dramatic. I can kind of see why you would. After my little detour yesterday to go and see the whales, and that was brilliant. Today is a travel day, so heading north. I have about an 8-hour drive ahead of me. Now, mostly you'd think there's hardly any cars on the road. The landscape is just immense. Driving through and they always pick the very best pictures to show you. I've got 8 hours solid of that. There's nothing you don't want to see. We're going through forests, ravines, past frozen lakes, fjords. It's unbelievably picture perfect. Well, I've reached Oxfjord, which is as far as I can get on the mainland, so it's jump on a ferry. Geir, who has already arrived, has agreed to meet me after the journey, and from there, he'll take me onto another cod fishing location. Finally on the ferry, next stop, the island of... This area is amazing. Yesterday, the very stretch of water we're crossing was alive with thousands of dolphins. That's right, thousands. Apparently, it was like the surface of the water is a superpod, and they can be absolutely massive. One in California had an estimated 100,000 dolphins. Of course, today, because I've arrived, there isn't a single one. But it's wonderful to be here just the same. This is Hasvik, the main town on the island, and waiting at the dock is my old friend Gare. Haha! Hey! That was a long day travelling, but Gare's here waiting for me. I think it's time for a bit of dinner and fishing tomorrow. At around 800 square kilometres, Soroya is Norway's 8th largest island and has a population of just over 1,000. As many sea anglers will tell you, it's where you come to catch big fish, and it is definitely on the angling map. This is where the world record cod was caught. My hosts are husband and wife team Mona and Ahmed, who run a business which specialises in looking after anglers who love big fish.
Coffee?
Over. That's the record tusk. That's the redfish. And that fearsome individual is a record wolffish. I think you get the picture. So I've just seen all of the photos from last week. These guys behind me have had probably hundreds. They said they were catching 500 kilos of cod a day, 20 kilos. And it's like a club. You catch one that's over 20, certainly over 30, and there are perk to use, and I tomorrow, and they've just told me that there's no chance of going out. Last week was great conditions, flat weather, flat seas, no wind, perfect. The one chance that I had looks like it's not going to happen. I've come such a long way to be here, and I'm so desperate to be part of their conversation. And that's just the way it goes, I suppose. Here we go. Right. Yesterday they told me not happening, not going out. They said, oh, maybe we'll let you know. And then the next thing I know, woken up this morning, the Hoot 2-hour window. We've got a 2-hour window to go out. Half of that might be travelling time. Don't know if we're even going to catch. Don't care. Got one chance. Despite the weather forecast allowing a very short amount of usable fishing time, we're joined by Ahmed and fishing guide Johan, who are keen to help put me on the right. You often hear about island communities being friendly, but honestly, the people up here really are amazing. So, long way for this. Just over 80 meters of water, so that's 80, 62, 40, 160 feet deep. That is just for it's just for comparison. It is about probably 10 double. That's how deep it is. Out here. Oh, no kidding. I've got a pound of lead on here. It takes 2 minutes to drop to the bottom. Just like on our first fishing trip, it's Gare Big fish or 5 kilo fish again? Oh. It's the wrong way round. Ah, he's in the mouth now. That's one of the best.
Is it?
Careful over the side there.
It's wild. Up.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's the best so far.
Okay, I'm glad.
We're getting on for 6-7 kilos there.
Yeah, I told you 6.5, didn't I?
You did. You know your stuff. Okay, it's perfect. Look at them. Eyes, they're so big.
Yeah.
Deep water. Over the radio, I hear that Ahmed and Johan are also having success. All that remains now is for the new boy to get in on the action.
You have a fish or not?
Yeah, got one, yeah.
Good.
Just taking my time. Come to Papa. Come to the codfather. Right, I can...
You see the fish?
Yeah. Right, I'm gonna stand up.
Let me know if you need something from me.
The sea conditions are definitely a bit more choppy than the other day, which means staying on your feet. Come on, baby, up we come. Ah. Good fish, but not a big one. Although we're not catching monsters, the fact that we're able to get out at all is something of a miracle. And the action. Come on, Gout, just want to see a 10 kilo plus, that's what I said.
This is a 10 kilo fish.
You promised me.
Yes. Oh, it's a good fish.
It's a good fish. Wow. Yes, cod fishing Norway. Not quite the 10 kilos we're after, but I'm getting closer. This one's gonna go back. She was lightly hooked. Biggest lure of the day, smallest cod of the day. Look, it's nearly as long as he is.
Nice fish.
Very nice. There we go.
Fantastic. Very nice. Look at this.
We even have a double hookup. Oh, it's two good ones though.
Hey. That's a good double hookup.
Check that out. And the bigger fish took the small lure. I like that.
Yeah.
Well done. Oh, you had thought that was going to be one enormous one. The big question with bad weather coming in fast, are we going to catch any monsters? To be honest, we're taking a risk actually heading out in this weather. It's too rough. There's only one commercial boat out, no other angler. Risk, we've got to go out. We caught some cod up to about 6 kilos. Why don't you see for yourselves? Over 15. Aye! 17-3. Well
That's
done,
a nice
my
fish.
man. Ah. I came to Norway in search of the famous Norwegian cod, and it's fair to say that I've smashed my personal best record right out of the ballpark. But this trip has been about much more than just catching fish. Without any exaggeration whatsoever, it has been the experience